From Middle Earth to Midtown, State Route 30 to Route 66. It's time to look closer. From above to the sides and all around. Enter a new dimension. Travel through time and see the forest for the trees. But above all, think big. Bigger. Much bigger. It's time to look closer at the way you make smarter, more informed decisions. From real-time project planning to mitigating insurance risk and reimagining disaster response. Take a new look at public safety and push the limits of sustainability, one decision at a time. Look closer to challenge your assumptions. See the world from different perspectives and step outside the ordinary. It's time. Welcome to Nearmap NAVIG8 2022.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome to the stage, Rob Newman.
Well, welcome. Isn't it so good to be back in person for a conference? And I know there are many people watching online at the same time. Look closer. There are many great insights and innovations that have happened in our history because we look closer. Think of the microscope. It gave us the ability to understand biology at a cellular level and had so many great impacts on healthcare. Or at the other extreme, think about the telescope. It allowed us to understand where we sit, not only in our solar system, but in the universe as a whole. And way down at the deepest level, the particle accelerator. That was the device that validated the theory of the the theory of quantum mechanics. Right? Every piece of technology that we rely on today is because we're able to look closer and see how things worked at a quantum level, at that subatomic level. So today we're going to challenge you to look closer, but to look closer at our world and to deal with those two challenges that are really present for us: urbanization and climate change. Now we're going to do this from a couple of different perspectives. You're going to hear it from a technology perspective. What can we as Nearmap do for you to help you to look closer? We're also going to do it, we're going to hear from some of our customers. How are they using the technology and the insights from Nearmap where they can look closer at the world that we live in and make it a better place? And interestingly, as you heard, we are going to hear from some thought leaders. They're going to give us some inspiration about how we can make this a better world. So let's step back and look at that. First of all, the technology. How can we look closer with technology? Well, Nearmap, over the past several years, has invested over US $100 million in developing the world's leading technology. There is no company globally that exceeds what we can do in terms of the ability to look closer. Now, you're going to hear about a couple of those innovations today. One of them is HyperCamera 3. Now, we are incredibly excited about HyperCamera 3. This is our fourth generation of camera system, and it quite literally will allow you to look closer. The level of detail that you'll get out of the imagery from HyperCamera 3 will blow your minds. The fidelity of the 3D reconstructions that come and the quality of the data that comes from HyperCamera 3 is at a whole nother level. Now, people have done high resolution before, but they can't do it at the wide scale that we do, covering such a large percentage of Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the United States. Now, you're going to hear a lot about that today, and we've got some exciting innovations, but I'm not going to steal any of the thunder. The other big investment that we've been making over the past several years, in fact, we introduced it at our NAVIG8 conference 3 years ago, was Nearmap AI. This is the idea of applying artificial intelligence to the incredible data set that we have. Now, when we started 3 years ago, I think we had a handful of parameters about property. Was there a pool in the backyard? Was there a tree? How big was the house? That kind of stuff. Today, there are over 500 attributes that we collect about every property on the ground. Think about that for the almost 100 million properties that we collect globally. But what does that actually mean to you? Well, this is where we start to think about the impact that we have on the world. You're going to hear about how we can identify a fire risk. Is there an increased fuel load next to a property that's going to increase the likelihood of a loss of a home? Being able to predict that means we're more likely to not actually just respond to climate change events when they happen, but actually be able to prevent the damage before it occurs. Similarly, a flood risk. What can we do there? I'm going to tell you a story about a very good friend of mine who lives here in Sydney. She lives on the top of a hill and her house was flooded. How is that possible? How can a house on the top of a hill be flooded? Well, it turns out there's a very large paved area right next to a house. And with the rain that we've been having here in Sydney, landed on the large flat paved area and went straight into her house and flooded her house, right? Now, if we can model flood detail down to that level, if we can understand the risks down to a single property level, think about how that, again, can prevent damage to homes and to lives. Another example of where we can use Nearmap AI is actually after the event happens. That ability, when a wind event or a fire event goes through an area, what can we do to understand what the impact has been? How can we help the communities recover? How can we help those people that are in the emergency rescue get access to the site safely so that they can help the recovery efforts? These are the kinds of things that we're able to do now with Nearmap AI. So this is just a couple of teasers of some of the things you're going to hear about our technology today. But let's look at it maybe a little more from your perspective, from the customer's perspective. Now, I'm just not going to, there's a number of customer tutorials and insights available today, but I'm just going to give you a couple of insights. One of them, whoops, I've gone one too far, sorry. One of them is from Downer. Downer Group was managing a major toll road reconstruction down in Melbourne. Now, think about this. If you're commuting, last thing you want is a whole bunch of those trucks sitting on the road while you're commuting in the morning or commuting in the afternoon. So they have to plan all of their work to start at 8 p.m. and finish by 5 a.m. Get all the equipment in, get all the equipment out. By having the frequent updates and the level of detail they were getting from Nearmap, they're able to plan that project, deliver it on time and deliver it on budget. A very simple example, but an example where, again, you can see how having accurate, up-to-date information can really make a difference. Another example, quite different, is the city of Salem in Oregon, United States. They were struck by what's called an ice storm. Quite literally, ice about 2 inches thick was forming on every bough of every tree. And here's an example of some of the impact that had. Not only did it wipe out a number of trees that needed to be replaced, but also hit the utilities and the infrastructure. What were they doing about that? What could they do about that? Well, it turns out that FEMA in the United States will fund the recovery efforts. But how do you go validate what's been done? How do you validate what has been impacted by an ice storm? Do you send somebody out in conditions like that to work out what trees were knocked over, what power poles were knocked over? But again, if you use Nearmap data, it's all there. You can use AI to determine the change in the tree cover. You can use Nearmap AI to determine which power poles are there and not there. Those kinds of insights. And what it meant for them was their recovery efforts were much faster, and they got significantly more funding with less effort. So these are just a couple of examples that I'm sure you'll enjoy from the sessions a little later. Okay. Now let's go from the other perspective. How can we have a better impact on our world? Nearmap's ambition is to be the source of truth that can shape our livable world. This is an example we're all very familiar with here in the eastern coast of Australia, is the rain bombs that have been hitting. The impact of flooding has been quite significant. Understanding, being able to fly immediately after those events with our impact response product allows us to get there, capture the data of what's changed, but we've also got the data of what happened, of what was there before to see what changes happened. Again, how can we help the recovery efforts? Or in North America, the Dixie wildfires. These were California's largest wildfires ever. Again, another example of the impacts of climate change. This was significant. The impact that those wildfires had through the northeastern part of California was very significant. What can we do? We were there to capture that data, to understand what had happened to the community, to help those people that knew that their home was still there to be relieved, but more importantly, for those people whose homes have been impacted, to allow them to start their recovery efforts, for the insurance companies to quickly respond, for the emergency services also to quickly respond. We were there to help. So we can help with the impact on the world. And so you're going to hear from a couple of thought leaders today. First of those is Emma Bacon. And she comes from a group called Sweltering Cities. Now, I was fascinated. I only learned this a couple of years ago. But when we knock over all the trees in an area and put in a new suburb and replace it with high-density living, we literally raise the temperature by 5 degrees Celsius or 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Think about that. What would have been a hot day turns into an absolutely blistering day. Is that the kind of environment we want to live in? These are the things we need to know. Can we plan better cities? You're also going to hear from Lucinda Hartley, who looks at the world the other way. It's not what the world is or what the world we've built, but how we live in that world. How do we interact in the community? So I think hopefully those two insights from Lucinda and from Emma will kind of broaden your thinking about the kind of data we have about location. So what I'd like to do before we move into the session today is thank you, our customers, our partners and our supporters. Our company has over 12,000 businesses globally who rely on Nearmap data. We've grown significantly over the years and we've provided more and more content for you. So we thank you for that. But before we dive into the sessions today to look closer, I actually want to look back. It's almost 15 years today that Nearmap flew its first survey. And if any of you ever find that first survey, it is online, by the way. If you look at it, you'll realize it would never have passed QA, right? But it was a small survey of a little part of Perth where the company started. But that survey, that technology, and I remember seeing the technology back 15 years ago of some cameras sitting in a lounge room and a few computer racks in a lounge room, and all kind of plugged together. But from that starting point, today we have what is, I'm very proud of, a significant company that has grown, delivering data to so many customers, but most importantly, I'd like to thank you for your support. So with that, before we start to look closer, let's look back at the last 15 years. Thank you.
Since human existence, there's been an undying curiosity for the truth. For years, we've been observing the beauty of our planet from above, knowing it would help us to build resilient communities and respond to a changing climate. Over time, pioneers experimented with many techniques, including manually stitching together physical photos, until 2007 in Perth, Australia, where true innovation was brewing.
Stuart Nixon had put together an incredible camera system combined with a unique piece of software, because it had that incredible combination of breakthrough technology, but the ability to have a positive impact on the world. I was fascinated from day one.
He realised that there was a way that you could actually capture imagery and process it really, really quickly. Instead of taking 3 or 4 weeks to process, it might only take 1 or 2 days. Quite a big game changer at the time.
Nearmap revolutionised the way aerial imagery could be accessed.
What makes Nearmap unique is that we own the entire technology stack. We own all the hardware, software and analytics that makes us the absolute best in class, be it efficiency, accuracy, quality. It's driven by science and engineering decisions.
During the 2011 Brisbane floods, Nearmap made national headlines.
The Brisbane floods showed the speed with which Nearmap could capture, process and deliver that imagery was essential for the recovery efforts after the floods.
As Nearmap continued to grow, so did their solutions and transformative services.
A key part of our success was returning to the core of our company. We invested heavily in our technology leadership, and as a result came out with new camera systems, wide-scale 3D and artificial intelligence applied to derive attributes from all the data that we collect.
I've been heavily involved in developing all the camera systems since the first generation. And what I truly love about it is how we go about doing it. It's not as if like one person comes up with the idea. A physicist, image processing, a mechatronics guy, a mechanical guy, a structural dynamics guy. We've got our AI team and we throw ideas in from a different perspective. And that really leads to truly great innovation.
Once Nearmap proved its business model in Australia, it was time to expand to North America.
We have to understand what our customers needed in the North American market. Deeper insights, more frequent updates, and better quality product.
In the US, we had completely different challenges. We weren't well known at all. Rather than us start by building the business with hundreds of small companies, we targeted the mid-market and the enterprise. Growing rapidly in the US, we have a chance to learn from each other every day, and that's a lot of fun.
Since then, things haven't slowed down. Today, Nearmap continues to increase its coverage, develop the world's leading aerial camera systems, an entire solution stack of technology and products, expand to even more markets, and develop best-in-class machine learning capabilities, transitioning the business from not just imagery as a service, but insights as a service.
Our customers value Nearmap for the quality, the performance of all the systems and scale of the content that we produce, and we always connect the technology innovation with customer needs.
Nearmap has shaped the world of today to create cities that are smarter, more resilient to climate change, and help communities recover from catastrophic weather events.
Look, here's what's exciting and fun about Nearmap: the people, the technology, and the customers.
I often tell customers I could just be doing this all day, and I do. It's awesome.
I'm proud to work at Nearmap because of the people.
You know how they say if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room? Well, Nearmap is the right room.
My favorite part is the data. I really like what I'm doing now for the AI model. I can use my technical skills to solve the real-world problems, basically shaping the world.
Nearmap AI goes beyond just looking at imagery, but actually answers the question, what does it mean?
Nearmap is shaping the world to shape the future.
I'm excited because I see us becoming the #1 company when it comes to location analytics in the world. And we keep on challenging ourselves to solve the next big problem, and believe me, we are solving the next big problem.
Our customers expect great service, great product, our ability to support them.
Whether it's telco, utilities, construction engineering, local government, insurance, solar, all of these industries are impacted by what we provide. We offer to our customers the integrity of our data to be the source of truth that shapes our livable world.
Looking ahead, Nearmap will continue to capture the truth on the ground, helping organisations look closer and understand the ever-changing world.